I keep getting calls offering extended service warranties on my vehicles. I find that to be highly entertaining, if not kind of funny. I'm not looking for anybody's assistance to handle my shit. I suppose if you're willing to stand back and look at it, that's kind of the problem with the world today. Everyone thinks that somebody else is going to look out for their shit for them. When common sense tells us nothing could be further from the truth. How many times in your life personally have you fallen victim to someone who said they had your best interest at heart, only to find out later that their words, actions, and deeds were all about their best interest instead of yours? Sooner or later, we all experience it. Yet, we keep giving people who speak those words the benefit of the doubt, hoping for a different outcome. Unfortunately, that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So why is it I keep talking about freedom? Because in the end, freedom and free will is all that matters. If we end up just living our lives to have a life, in my estimation and or opinion, that's really no kind of life at all. Where somebody else gets to dictate your choices, your opinions, how you live your life or spend your freedom. There are some people out there that believe that free will doesn't exist, that our destinies have been mapped out for us beforehand, and that's just the way it is, and there ain't a damn thing that we can do about it. I beg to differ. We all have an opportunity every day to choose not to get out of bed. We all have the freedom to decide what it is we want to or don't want to eat that day. And it would stand to reason that we have the opportunity on how we choose to live our lives. I'm not prepared to just overlook that fact. even though others would be more than willing to do so. I understand what it's like to have your choices made for you, for people to treat one another as less than equals, or in some cases, as less than human. I get how the world elite see the rest of us as inconsequential, whose opinions don't count, because they have accumulated the power in their minds and we haven't. What they don't seem to realize, or no longer realize, is just because their bank account has grown to whatever proportion does not make them any better than any of the rest of us, and does not give them the right to rule our lives on a daily basis. And the arrogance of people like that, who I have dealt with in my life on several occasions, pisses me off to no end. Because here's what I know for a fact. It's those very same people who will be the first to fall should things go sideways and upside down. Because all they have is their money, and they can afford to make mistakes because of it. And the reality of it is, the general population of the world does not have that luxury. So they have to live their lives in such a fashion so that they don't ruin themselves and their families along the way. Because poor choices are poor choices. And we don't have the money to just overlook our poor choices and pay for our financial mistakes, religious mistakes, or whatever type of mistakes, and just move on. That's why we are the elite. Because we know how to do things that they don't. And that's why when they get what they want, and make no mistake about it, they are pushing towards a world collapse. They will be the ones to suffer the most because they don't know how to do shit. And they have to rely on people like you and me to make their lives possible in that scenario. I, for one, have no intention of helping anyone out who has been in that position where they put themselves and their opinions above others. Because that's not what this is supposed to be about. The one thing the people who run the system fear the most is the rest of us being on the same page and understanding that it should be all for one and one for all, instead of the way it is now, where people deceive and undermine other people in order to gain power for themselves or line their own pockets. Suppose if you get right down to it, that's why the world is the way that it is today. Separated and divided so that others can take advantage of our lives and enrich themselves along the way. really sad part of it is, by looking the other way and refusing to take a stand in some way, shape, or form, we allow it to happen. We condone it. And we enable the people who would take advantage of the rest of us the opportunity to do so. And that brings us full circle to the origins of our Constitution, written by people who had to fight, suffer, and die so that we'd have the opportunity to make our own choices. And if we're not willing to live by the principles in which it was laid out, we will end up in a situation like we are today, where someone else feels they have the right or power to dictate how our lives go and take away our personal choices. So in the end, ladies and gentlemen, there really is no insurance policy. There is no maintenance warranty. It's up to each and every one of us to live by those words and, in essence, handle our own shit.